My story kind of begins with, I think I've always had a very just core belief that like I wasn't enough and that I had to prove myself worthy all the time and that I wasn't worthy, wasn't deserving of love.
Welcome to Religion Sucks, a podcast where we talk about what it's like to have a real relationship with God. My name's Rich, and I'm here with my co-host Kirsten.
Today we're talking with a young woman named Lauren who spent years battling severe anxiety and depression. She's going to talk to us about what that season of her life was like and how God brought her through it. I think you guys are going to love this interview. Here is Lauren.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And I have to say, we have known you, Lauren, since before I knew you in utero, before you were born, because we have known your parents for, 30 years, like forever.
Back when we were all crazy and young and no kids and
broke and foolish. Now we're just, either broke or foolish, depending on the day. Anyway, so to kick things off, we always ask everyone the same question to start, just because it's interesting to hear what people say. But what is your earliest memory of God?
I think it has to be, this is where my brain automatically goes. I had this, and I don't know what it is looking back, but I had this encounter with Christ when I was, I think around 6 or 8 years old. I think I was 6. And I was sleeping in my bed. And throughout the night, I was like, oh, my dad, I felt like somebody sitting on my bed next to me throughout the entire night. And I was like, oh, my dad's here. And I woke up in the morning and I went downstairs and I was like, Mom, I wanted to see Dad. Like, I wanted to thank him for staying with me all night. And she was like, Lauren, like, your dad was in his room all night. And I was like, but like, I had this weird sense that like a fatherly figure was next to me, sleeping, like while I was sleeping, and just this peaceful presence next to me. So yeah, when I was super young, like 6, I had the childlike faith of just knowing my father being, I would, tell people about him. There's even a little video of me talking about, I always said like the Jesus and how I would pray to him every night, and I went to a Christian library and like all this stuff. So I have this little video of me. So I think it's around like, I think that was the age of like when my first memories of just that understanding of Christ as like a father-like figure and God as a father-like figure and that peace and that comfort. So I think that was kind of my first memory.
it's such a real tangible way too. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was very tangible.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we obviously have known your family forever, but from your perspective, what was your life like growing up?
Well, I was raised in a Christian family, so I have an older brother and 2 wonderful parents. It was very, I was homeschooled I kind of was back and forth through different schools and always just brought up in a Christian home with good values and all the things. So I had, like, when I think back, I had a very good childhood with steady parents, with, just good friendships and all the things.
What happened next?
So I think my story kind of begins with, I think I've always had a very just core belief that like I wasn't enough and that I had to prove myself worthy all the time and that I wasn't worthy, wasn't deserving of love, and just kind of this overarching like low self-worth of just not knowing who I was. And I still struggle with it to this day of just not feeling like who I am already is enough. So I think those underlying values and those underlying beliefs just caused and wreaked havoc on my life, because the enemy obviously knew like this is the way that I get Lauren and this is how I can attack her. So I think when my story started to plummet was during 2020. So this was when I was in 8th grade. So I had left school. I was obviously like super isolated and just not having my foundation of good people, of people like of challenging things that just brought me to that next step. And yeah, I just kind of sank with just I wasn't being expected to do much in school or anything. And when not a lot is expected of me, I don't often do well. And when I'm not surrounded by good people, like, and I'm not challenged and I'm not like brought towards that level, like I just sink. So that's when the enemy started to like use those lies again and bring up those lies of just like you aren't enough. And especially because I was like 13, 14.
Which
And
we all
so,
feel terrible about
right.
ourselves when we're
Those are
13.
terrible ages in general.
I mean, the awkward
Yes.
photos aren't even like...
I'm like, it was like the
don't even go
perfect
there.
storm of like, because like every 13, 14-year-old just struggles so much with just identity, knowing where they belong, knowing like who and whose they are. Like it's all this just, perfect storm. So, in those times, I was just like, I was trying to find my identity. And so what I ended up doing was finding it through like social media and just this whole worldly persona of who I should be. And this worldly view of like what I was supposed to look like, who I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to be doing. And when you structure yourself and your foundation is in the world, it is terrible. So all of these things come up with like substance abuse, with even I was introduced to self-harm and just like I was already experiencing suicidal ideation and just depression and anxiety. And so all of this was just me feeling like maybe I can belong in this. Maybe I can find identity in these people who are also experiencing the same beliefs, experiencing the same feelings as me. Because all I wanted was a community. All I wanted was to be seen, loved, and understood. And so I was finding and structuring myself in this community of people who were grounding themselves in the world and who were trying to instead of rising above the offense, they were just kind of, and not offense, but like rising above the struggle, the depression, anxiety, whatever it might be. They were digging their feet in and finding a way to live like that and not overcome it, but just stay there and kind of surrender yourself to it.
Now, did you tell anybody how you were feeling at this point, or was it just kind of hidden?
Yeah, so it was a little bit in between because my mom had found out and that I was actively like self-harming and using substances. And so but I had lost all my friends. So the majority of it, like I was doing this alone in my room, like just super isolated. And because I couldn't see anybody, I was just like, and I wasn't going to school. I actually didn't end up going to 8th grade at all. And I was just home on social media, just in my room, just totally, just me and the enemy. And so I was, doing the majority of this alone. But I still had my parents who kind of walked through a lot of it with me, which I was very thankful for.
How did that season feel to you? What did that feel like?
I feel like almost like a veil was over my head of just like seeing the world through like a very victim mentality and just this heaviness and this offense that was just totally covering, just everything, the way I viewed the world. And so I think I was totally I believe it was totally a spiritual battle of just only seeing things through like this very negative lens of I was so grounded in just this way of thinking that was so much like the way that the world was teaching me to think, of just staying where you are and not growing, digging your feet in, and just accepting the hardship as it is and not trying to heal.
Did that seem normal to you?
I think it definitely seemed like it wasn't healthy. And I think there was a part of me that didn't necessarily care. I think like what we were talking about where my worth was. I think that I actually felt like I deserved this way of living because of how much I didn't know my identity and how lowly I thought of myself, that I actually thought that like this is actually better suited for me than a life of goodness. Yeah.
Like you don't deserve anything better.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of what my thinking pattern was, is like, oh, well, I already am, I deserve this. I don't deserve good things. And so so I kind of just went to the lowest common denominator to like, because it's easier to not be challenged.
I was just going to say, I've seen that pattern in so many people
Yeah.
over the years, where when their identity is, or their self, like just the way that they see their self is so low, that anytime something good happens, they'll sabotage it just to bring it back down to what they feel like they deserve. Like, I don't deserve to have a new job, or to actually have money, or to have health, or anything positive. Yeah, good relationships and things like that. So they'll just sabotage those. So it just goes right back to living miserably. Yeah.
Did you ever, like, did you feel like there was light at the end of the tunnel? There was hope? Or did it just feel like this is my life from now on?
Yeah. I don't think I had anything to ground my hope in. So like when I thought about my future, when I thought about even, I could not imagine when I was 13, 14 that I would be where I'm at now. It was, there's no way possible, like in my head, that I would be like who I am in this moment, and like the experiences and the life and the light that I am like in now. Like there's no way in like a million years that I would have thought that this would be my reality. So it's crazy.
Okay, so I feel like that's a good segue.
Mhm.
Maybe tell us a little bit about your return journey, like how you started to come out of that. Like, was
Yeah.
it sudden? Was it slow?
Yeah. Well, it was definitely a slow process. I think that it was a lot of little things and little steps that I initially didn't feel like I was taking steps towards healing. But even I switched over habits of self-harm to actually smoking marijuana. And that was actually...
That's not self-harm?
It is still, but it's
terrible on your lungs.
It's so terrible. It is. But that was it was surprisingly, it was one step towards the right direction, because then I stopped that, and then I was able to find different coping mechanisms and different things. And so, yeah, it's looking over it, it was definitely a bunch of small decisions that didn't even feel like they were big at the time. Like I used to have very dyed hair too, like, and nothing against that, but for me it was an outward expression of how I was feeling internally. And so I one day dyed my hair back to brown and didn't even really think much of it, and just like little things and little steps towards Christ. And I think a big shift for me was doing VBS, because I did it because I think I saw Rachel there and I saw Kendra there, and I knew that some of my close friends were doing it that I hadn't seen in years, because I was even too ashamed to like see them. But I was not busy and I just needed something to do and all the things. And what really like gave me that grounding or that understanding of Christ's character was actually the worship music in the morning. So at VBS, they start off the day obviously with like a worship and prayer. And so by the first day I was like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? Like, why am I doing this? And the second day I was like, oh, I love this music. This is like, yeah, just kind of realizing like Christ's character and like just what I had been missing. And like the third day I was like with my arms open, just like, Lord, like I've missed you so much. And I think for me, I think the reasoning why I felt away from Christ is kind of what you were just saying, of like, I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to receive his love and his grace. I was like, I am so broken. I am such a hot mess. Like, how could I even be anywhere near enough for a God like him? And so that was just, my understanding was finally like, oh, like, yeah, I'm not enough. Yeah, I am broken, but like through him, I am made new. Through him, I have a new life. I have a new identity, and I am made enough through him. And so I don't have to be stuck in that worthlessness, because through him, I am made worthy. And so
It changes everything.
it changes everything
When
because it's
that-
no longer
when
up
it
to
makes
us.
sense and you get that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's no longer just this like battle of I'm not enough. I can't be enough. Like, what can I even do? I am so broken, to surrendering it all and being like, oh my gosh, like just by giving myself to him, I am made new. And so like that was the turning point for me. And ever since then, I just kind of took more and more steps of like faith and sanctification and growth. And so that was yeah, just the turning point for me is just and then I decided, because I was in public school for my freshman and sophomore year, and then I decided to go back to Front Range Christian my junior and senior year. And so I switched association. I was like, and I was so terrified because just was so afraid of, and it sounds funny because I wanted to be seen so badly, but yeah, I was so afraid of being seen. So even going into that school, because my freshman, sophomore year, I was smoking around like 3 or 4 times a day. So I would wake up in the morning and I was constantly just intoxicated. So I'd walk into school and I was already just like completely out of it. And so by the time I was a sophomore, my sophomore year summer, I had stopped smoking. And when I went back to school, I had to spend the morning sober. And that was absolutely terrifying to walk into school and to be like, oh my gosh, people know my name. I'm being seen. And I like it, honestly, I broke down a few times because I'm like, how can I even do this?
There's nothing to hide behind.
Yeah, there's nothing to hide behind. And so it was definitely a period of just time where I was just
Do
very
you feel
vulnerable.
like you really pressed into the Lord at that
Mhm.
point?
I did, yeah. That was when I was kind of, I think more my senior year, because I was given an opportunity to do a capstone project. So it's like a year-long project, and you answer the question, what do you love or what do you want? And I chose to do mine on redemption. And so my title was Redemption and Our Scars. And so I talked about Jesus' scars, my scars, and like others' internal scars and external scars. So like internal burdens, external burdens. And how and I talked about obviously like redemption and sanctification, and how we are made new and we are brought back to life. And like he bears the scars for us, and he bears our shame for us, and he's not ashamed of what he had to endure for us. And so even in his resurrected and redeemed body, he still bears his scars. And so, and he like even shows Thomas, like, see my hands and feet, like touch my scars. He's like not ashamed of what he did for us. And those scars carry the burdens of our sin, and they carry all of it. It is finished. They carry all of it. And so just the fact that he still endures all of that, like on his whole, like he is fully covered in scars, and the fact that he endures it and he carries it for us and he's not ashamed, is something that I like have found so much comfort in because of my own personal scars. Because I'm like, I'm actually more like Jesus because of my scars. And I like, it just reminds me, and it reminds me, like, this is what our Savior did for us. And like, that's like the constant reminder, because when I look at my scars, I'm like, oh, I should feel so much shame. This is just a reminder of my past. No, it's a reminder of what Christ did for us, and just how much Christ carried for us. And so that's kind of the like way my brain has just kind of healed from that. It's like, oh, like my story is not just my story. It's a story of like just what Christ does with our brokenness, and how beautifully he carries it, and how he transforms it. Like the ashes into beauty, like shame into glory. Like that is who he is. And so that's how I've had to just kind of transform my thinking. Is like, it's not always about me, and it's not always about my weakness, but instead his strength, and finding comfort, and just identity in that.
So thinking back to those lonely years of 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, or before you went back to Front Range, what would, if you could tell someone how they could have helped you during that time, like, you know, this podcast is called Religion Sucks because a lot of times church and doesn't get it right, you know, of how to reach people that are going through those times. Like, so how if you had the opportunity to tell someone today, like how to be that friend that you would have needed, that would have helped you kind of process. I mean, God's timing is always perfect, right? So we know He had a plan for all this, but what would you say to somebody of who possibly could have been a better friend during that time?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the times we try to fix everything, and we, as friends, like we're just so, and parents, we're just so worried that we try to swoop in and just make everything this pretty bow when it can't be. And there are times in those trials and those hardships that you actually, I believe you need to be there. I believe that I needed to go through what I went through in order to have just who I am today. I wouldn't be the same without that. And so I think enduring in those hard moments and providing support, comfort, and care and love towards those people. You don't have to accept it. You don't accept it, actually. You don't agree with the enemy's lies ever. But you reaffirm what the Lord says, and you stick with it, and you trust that He has a plan. He has goodness and grace for them. And sometimes, like, all I needed was just to be heard and validated, and not that saying what I felt was true, but that saying that what I felt was understandable, and that I wasn't like, and that what I was experiencing made sense. And it wasn't necessarily true, but it was what I was feeling at the time. So I think enduring through those moments with patience and with grace and understanding, because you can't fast forward God's plan, and you can't expect it to just healing overnight, because that's never how it happens. So, I mean, I had even a close friend who never agreed with the enemy's lies, but who stuck by my side through it all and loved me through it, and saw the core of who I was, and that I was just being attacked by the enemy. So there's just this, I think presence is what matters more than anything, because you can't say the right thing, you can't do the right thing, you can't heal them. They have to heal themselves. But just by being present in those moments of just you, because you're not going to say the right thing, and you can even say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you, and I love you, and I understand where you're coming from, and just saying all the things that the Lord says, and just trusting in His plan. And sometimes it feels so hopeless. And sometimes it, like, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But structuring your hope in Jesus, and that He has this transformative power just with His presence. And through prayer, and through my mom, even, I always tell this story. Throughout my hard time, every time I would leave home, I'd come back, and my room was like every little pillow I flipped, or every clothes I turned over, there was always a sticky note, and it was Isaiah 53:5, by His stripes she is healed. And so that was everywhere, all over my room. And she'd come in, and my room was very much decorated just very interestingly, because I was, again, just struggling so much. And she'd come and switch my music to worship music and act like a crazy lady in there, just worshiping the Lord and praying and hiding scripture everywhere. And I'd be like, Mom, what are you doing in my room? Like, get out. But that's when you realize, like, that's what helped, is just trusting the Lord, prayer, and like that surrenderance. So it's not easy. It's not easy. And it's not always easy to just endure. And there are moments where you do have to step in. And like, it's not always just going to be this like distant, like, oh, the Lord has it. Because there is action involved too. So it's a really tough scenario, because there's times when you do need to step in, you do need to ask for help, you do need to be involved and make sure. Because what I think would have helped my story is if I was given like another opportunity to, like, for things to do, or like social media restrictions, or just anything like that, like, parents, like, be involved, and I know the kids might absolutely hate it, and might even say they hate you at moments, but it would have made the world of a difference if I was just I think I was actually like searching for that, in some sense, of searching for that, like for someone to put some responsibility on me of like. So it depends on the child. So I don't think there's one right answer, but that's kind of where my brain is at.
So, final thoughts? Like, is there something you'd want to share with people listening?
Just that, like, structuring your identity is like one of the most important things that you can do. And that's something that even I can struggle with sometimes, just of like, where does my worth really lie? Like, who am I? Like, why am I don't know, like, am I worthy? Like, all of these things. It is so important to structure yourself in Him and have a foundation in Him, and to walk a life of light, and to walk in righteousness and walk with Him and heal. I think that is the biggest thing, is like, there's so much beauty and hope, and it's possible. And it's not something, it does take time, it does take effort, but it's so worth it. I think that's like kind of the summed up thing of what I
Awesome.
have to say.
Well, we know there are so many people walking in your shoes where you were right now. And we hope they hear this. We hope they hear this podcast. Yeah, that's
There's
awesome.
hope.
There's hope. There's hope in Jesus Christ. He can transform the worst situation, the worst heart, and bring light and bring hope and healings. So.
He can. I know there's this quote that I love, and it's Christ can take the very worst parts of your past and redeem it into the most radiant parts of your future.
That's awesome.
And like that radiantness of like that transformation, like the most broken thing can become the most beautiful once we surrender over to Him. So that's the hope that we can like structure ourselves in, is like, yeah, that's who Christ is. You know, thank you guys so much. It's such an honor to be here and to be able to share, because it's so cool talking about Him and what He's done.
Well, thank you for having the courage to share your story, and thank you, listeners, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Share this episode with your friends so that they'll be blessed by it too. You can also find us on social media. Just don't spend too much time on it. On Instagram, reach us through our website, religionsucks.co.
Can't wait to spend time with you guys again next time.